Hi everyone, welcome to Eve Math Tutoring. Today's lesson is on multiplication of algebraic expressions, and we're going to be doing more examples. So I had already introduced this topic to you in a previous video, and in this lesson I'm going to be doing a few more examples. Okay, so I'm going to start with some basic examples. So if you're multiplying, say, the following. So over here, you just multiply the numbers first. So negative 5 times negative 2 is going to be 10. And then a times a squared is going to be a cubed. And then b times b cubed is going to be b to the 4. Okay. So say we have the following. 2p times negative 4p squared cubed times p cubed. So again, I multiply the numbers first. So negative 8. And then I multiply the p's, so p to the 1, p to the 1, and p to the 2. That's going to be p to the 4. You just add up the exponents. And then q to the 1 times q to the 3 is going to be q to the 4. Okay, so that's how you simplify something like that. What if we had the following example? 2a plus 3x times 2a plus 3x times 9. So in this case, you can use FOIL here, so you can go ahead and use FOIL to do the binomials. So when you do that, you're going to get 4a squared plus 6ax plus 6ax and plus 9x squared. And you're going to keep that in brackets and keep the 9 over here. So now, 4a squared, 6ax plus 6ax is 12ax plus 9x squared times 9. So now you can go ahead and bring that number in, and you have to bring it into every term inside the bracket. So this becomes 36a squared plus 12 times 9, which is 108. 12 times 9, yeah, 108, that's right. Okay, so 108ax plus 81x squared. Okay, so that would be your final answer for that example. Let's try some more examples. Let's try something like this. If you were asked to simplify p minus q minus p minus q in brackets minus q. So the question would obviously say simplify, or okay. Now in this case, again, so as you remember in one of my previous lessons, I had mentioned that when you have brackets and you're simplifying, you want to work from the inside out. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually work on this inner bracket. You're going to remove it. When you do that, this negative comes in here and here. So it becomes p minus p, and then these two negatives become plus q. And then we just write down that q over there. So then over here, we've got p minus q. Now at this point, you could simplify this if you wanted, or you could bring in the negative. So there's two options there. So if you want, if you do simplify this, you are going to get 0, but I can also show you how you can, okay. So actually, if we simplify it, I'm going to show you two ways, but first if we just bring in the negative, let's do that way first. So if we bring in the negative, you get negative p plus p minus q plus q. And then if I open this bracket up, I just have p minus q minus p plus p minus q plus q. Now instead of doing this step, I could have just put in 0 here and then just had p minus q, or I could do this showing you all the steps, okay? So now this cancels this cancels this, so we're left with p minus q as our final answer, okay? Or we could have just written 0 for this part and then gotten the answer like that, right from there to there. Okay, so let's try some more examples. Okay, so say you have the following. m plus 2n minus 2m minus n multiplied by 2m plus n minus m minus 2n. Okay. Now for something like this, I do think it's a good idea to simplify what's inside the brackets first to make it easier to solve. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to actually deal with this first. So we're going to open up the brackets here. So m plus 2n. This negative goes into both, so it becomes minus 2m and plus n. So making sure to remember that the negative applies to both. So over here we've got 2m plus n, and then this negative goes here and here. So it becomes minus m plus 2n. Now at this point, before I start multiplying, I can go ahead and add like terms to make it easier for me later on. So over here, m and 2m are like terms. So that's going to give me negative m, and then 2n plus n is going to give me positive 3n. Over here, 2m minus m is going to give me n, and then n plus 2n is going to give me again 3n. Now at this point, once we do that, so this question could say multiply or simplify, something like that. Probably it would probably ask you to multiply. Okay, so now we can go ahead and just use FOIL to multiply these two binomials. So negative m times m is negative m squared. Negative m times 3n is negative. So this one, okay, so negative 3mn plus 3mn, or I could have written this as nm, same thing. And then 3n times 3n is 9n squared. So now we would add like terms. So these two actually cancel each other, and we are left with negative m squared plus 9n squared as our final answer. Okay, so that's an interesting question right there. So that's just a little bit more practice on multiplication of algebraic expressions. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to post them on the channel page or email evemathtutoring@outlook.com.